Hello and welcome to Turn 1 Magic Cube Podcast. My name is Sam and I have Kirk with me today.
How's it going?
And Sky.
How's it going?
And we're going to look at 4 packs. We're simulating that we're in an 8-man draft right now. And we're all making pretend we're in the same seat. And we're just going to say what card we would take out of each pack and why we would take it, other cards we would consider. So let's just get down to business and see what we got. Starting off, we have Zealous Conscripts, Sword of Light and Shadow, Pacifism, Palaka Worm, Finhorn Elves, Arc Trail, Undying Evil, Deathrite Shaman, Hero of Bladehold, Terminus, Stagger Shock, Duress, Sigil of Distinction, Basalt Monolith, and a Massacre Worm. So what are you guys' initial instincts on this pack?
Sword of Light and Shadow.
Yeah.
I have to say.
I never like to pass a sword, so...
Yeah, and it's staying colorless is really good. And other than, like, Hero of Bladehold and Zealous Conscripts, there's no other card that really makes me want to go into a color immediately in this pack right now.
I mean, I love Terminus. I love Deathrite Shaman. Zealous Conscripts is a sweet card. Palaka Worm and Finhorn Elves being in the same pack with Salt Monolith is kind of funny. But yeah, I think Sword of Light and Shadow is an obvious pick here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just staying colorless, swords are just automatically sweet. I think it's a pretty universal pick, but we'll do what we usually do when there's a pretty obvious pick, and we'll take it out. And what if there wasn't a Sword of Light and Shadow in here? What would be the pick? This is a much tougher one, I feel.
I have to say the Hero of Bladehold.
And why would you pick Hero over anything else in this pack?
I think it's just on a different power level than everything else. Me personally, I don't like to commit to a white aggro deck in my first pick of the draft, and when those other great cards come up, you kind of are inclined to take them. But it's just kind of better.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Hero Bladehold doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go into aggro either. It's a decent mid-range card. It's not the worst control card if you need like some kind of finisher and if you can protect him when he gets out there. It's not ideal, but it's not the worst either. I think there's some... yeah, it's probably Hero Bladehold. Sky, what would you go with?
I'd have to go with Zealous Conscripts. I've seen this card win so many games. It has the ability to take a Planeswalker and just ultimate with it. I mean, you go up against a Karn and Karn's just taking away your hand, and all of a sudden you drop a Zealous Conscripts and take away their game. It's got a power level that's just kind of unknown. Hero Bladehold's really fast, really quick damage. But like Kirk said, I don't like to go double white right off the bat. Terminus is really cool. I like the card a lot, and problem is there aren't that many control cards in this pack. I don't think I'm gonna wheel anything. But yeah, Basalt Monolith is a good card. It ramps, but it's not on the same power level. It's not gonna kill my opponent. I'm gonna have to go with Zealous Conscripts.
Yeah, Zealous, there's definitely some merit picking the Zealous too, because there's a lot of different directions when you pick a Zealous Conscript. You can go with a more red-based deck, or you can just simply smash the Zealous Conscripts. It's kind of a finisher to a point. You just take their giant thing and swing in with it, and then call it a day from there. So yeah, there are definitely some interesting picks. I would probably have to go with Hero also, just because it's so strong, but if there wasn't a sword in here, it'd be a tough pick for me, probably. So yeah, but other than that, universal pick, sword, agreed?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's a pretty easy pick. We'll go to the next one right now. On the next pack, pack number 2, we have Darksteel Ingot, Bone Splitter, Angelic Destiny, Soltari Priest, Baneslayer Angel, Mana Vault, Goblin Guide, Call of the Herd, Brimstone Volley, Sphinx of Draw Isle, Everflowing Chalice, Bone Shredder, Soltari Monk, and Vexing Devil.
Looks like you guys made the right call going double white.
Yeah.
That Baneslayer's looking pretty good.
Yeah, Baneslayer looks pretty good. But even with the Baneslayer in here, Mana Vault.
Mana Vault's sweet.
Yeah, the power level Mana Vault, just being able to drop either a 4-drop or a 5-drop on your second turn, even with the damage you're going to take, is just, it's unprecedented. I mean, not unprecedented, but like it's just so strong. A lot of decks won't be able to overcome it when you drop this massive card on the table very early. And it's going to be taken if you don't take it. And it's no point in passing really good cards when you just take it yourself. Kirk, what do you pick?
Mana Vault, 100%.
Mana Vault's sweet. I mean, a 1-drop artifact is sweet enough as it is.
Mhm.
You're going to play it in every deck that you could possibly play.
Oh, for sure.
And it's just going to be a powerhouse. Who cares if you're taking 1 damage a turn for the first three or four turns?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Randomly it will kill you, but that's not what you really don't care about. That's not a concern at all when you probably will be winning the game when you cast Mana Vault.
Absolutely.
Or getting way closer to winning the game. So, universal pick, but as usual, we'll make pretend that last pick that Sky chose the Zealous Conscripts and we both chose the Hero Bladehold. So what would you pick considering that right now? Me and Kirk chose the Hero and Sky chose the Zealous Conscripts. So Sky, what would you pick considering you chose the Zealous Conscripts? Make pretend there's no Mana Vault in here.
Without the Mana Vault, this is kind of tough. I don't know. The Goblin Guide Vexing Devil in here kind of tells me that whoever was to my right isn't going red aggro.
Mm-hmm.
There's double white aggro in here. I don't know. Baneslayer's sweet. Taking away might be even sweeter. I wouldn't be able to take away their Sphinx, so I might take the Sphinx of Dwar, but I don't think just playing it for the sake that it can't be hit by the Zealous Conscripts is very good.
Yeah.
Without the Mana Vault.
Also considering that you took a sword too.
Oh right, we have the sword. I might have to go with the Baneslayer. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with the Baneslayer.
Just kind of go in that like kind of mid-range direction with the cards you have.
Yeah.
I can see that
plus
for
I
sure.
Throw a sword on it. It's probably gonna win pretty quick.
Absolutely, Kirk.
Yeah, Baneslayer. It's just really good. Seen it win many games. If you can get it on the board, it's really tough to get through if you're facing an aggro deck. It's going to be a big roadblock in their game plan to just slow them down and hopefully just be able to start gaining life back and take control of the game.
Definitely. I mean, Baneslayer always runs the risk of getting Doombladed or Dismembered, but that's the risk you should be willing to take for a 5/5 flying first strike lifelink protection from Demons and Dragons. That card is just so good. Since we both took the Hero, I think the Baneslayer would be the pick. I think there's some merit to considering the Goblin Guide if you took the Zealous Conscripts, but there's no fault in taking the Baneslayer just because kicking insane cards is always a good idea when you're playing Cube. So that's another universal pick of Mana Vault, though. Good start so far for us. We have 2 colorless cards that don't really put us in any direction that are both extremely powerful. So in this next pack, we're probably looking to go into a color if there isn't anything for us, but we'll see what we got here. We're looking at a Lightning Helix, Mana Leak, a Mara Angel, Phyrexian Rager, Fire Imp, Tinker, Grave Titan, Imperial Recruiter, Seal of Cleansing, Green Sun Zenith, Magus of the Moon, Bloodgift Demon, Harrow, and Vampire Nighthawk. I feel this is a really tough pick.
Yeah.
I'm looking at both Tinker and Grave Titan right now.
That's exactly what I'm looking at today.
And this is kind of like, this is when we decide what direction our draft is going to go into, I feel.
Yeah. Tinker is sweet. Being able to... I mean, we got Mana Vault, we could probably turn 2 into some big beater.
Yep.
But a Grave Titan's a Grave Titan. And, I mean...
It's probably one of the best finishers in the cube.
Yeah.
Pretty easy. Just being able to come into play with 10 power right off the bat, and when you swing, you have 14 power on the table. That is so insane. But, also, there's the Tinker. I mean, turn 2 Mana Vault Tinker into Wormcoil Engine, into Battlesphere. Insanely strong plays, and those are both cards that are within the realm of possibility for getting during this draft. Kirk, what are you looking at? What are you really considering right now?
My natural instinct wants to go for the Tinker over the Grave Titan, just because we have the Mana Vault already, and it's a 3-drop.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be a lot of 6-drops that are going to be coming around that are going to be able to replace Grave Titan. Maybe not as good, but they might be 75% as good as the Grave Titan, whereas your deck only needs a couple 6-drops. That Tinker being a 3-drop, it just makes it a little better, especially being the first pack. If it was a second pack, I'd say you take the Grave Titan pretty much 100% of the time because Tinker's just not as strong. But when you can base your deck around it, I'd say Tinker is the better pick.
I'm gonna disagree. I think Grave Titan's probably better in this situation because we haven't seen another big artifact to tinker into. There's a good chance that we don't get that Battle Sphere, or we don't get that Worm Coil Engine, and I mean then we're just sitting on a dead Tinker. I mean, what else do we really want to get? Icy Manipulator?
Yeah, tinkering into an Icy Manipulator, like some kind of utility, is not the worst, but it's really not what you're looking to do with a Tinker.
Yeah, I mean, we could get a sword, but again, it's like, that's not doing any damage.
It's just not really exciting either.
If I take the Grave Titan, we have a Bloodgift Demon, a Phyrexian Ranger, and a Vampire Nighthawk in this pack. The odds of all three of those being gone by the time this comes back, like, kind of low. And I mean, a Nighthawk with a sort of War and Peace on it is pretty sweet.
Yeah. Probably if I had to, I don't know. I mean, I understand the merit of picking the Tinker, but I think just having a Grave Titan when we have no color commitment, even with the Tinker out there, is such a strong pick. It allows us to pick other cards and packs with bombs instead of having to take the bomb. And you're absolutely right. There will be a lot of 6-drops and 5-drops that will be able to come back. I mean, even looking at this pack, someone's going to get a Bloodgift Demon out of it. That's a very strong finisher in black. But the power level of Grave Titan is just so high. I mean, Tinker it's an unknown and it's a great card to build around. I don't know. Jeez, this is a really tough one. All right, decision time, I guess. Kirk, what would you go with?
I have to take the Tinker.
For all the reasons you said?
Yeah, I mean, there's times when you can build a Tinker deck, and this is one of those times where you have to go the way of Tinker, because you're not going to get a better opportunity than this when you've already picked a Mana Vault, and a Tinker third pick out of 45 picks is pretty strong to go for that Tinker deck. It's also a very fun deck to play. I mean, it's just, I don't know, I feel like I'm going to get another 6-drop to replace that Grave Titan that I'll be able to throw in there.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think neither of the picks would be the wrong pick to make. Either way you go, you're making a pretty good pick. And Kirk might be onto something. Looking at this pack, there's one other blue card, Mana Leak, and you could be just cutting people out of blue. So then you just open that up for yourself and just start drafting your face off.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to say Grave Titan.
Yeah. I'm very, very 50-50 on this pack because I think both you guys brought up very good points. If I wanted to, like, if I was doing this competitively, I would probably just pick the Grave Titan because it's just like it's a known strong commodity. But if I'm just trying to like fool around and not fool around per se, but like try to make a sweet deck with like a bunch of known commodities that could come ahead of me, I think the Tinker is definitely the better pick because the possibilities we have with the Tinker and like being able to turn 2 Tinker it's nigh unbeatable a lot of the time. It's really, really tough to overcome. But again, I don't think either one of them is wrong. I think gun to head, I would probably pick Grave Titan, but I think it can go either way, really. So, any other thoughts on this pack before we move on? All right, so we have one Tinker pick for Kirk, and we have 2 Grave Titan picks for me, Sam, and Sky. So now to the next pack, the final pack we'll be looking at. And we have a Stromkirk Noble, Vapor Snag, Rock's Faithmender, Damnation, Borderland Ranger, Sarkin Vol, Day of Judgment, Palladium Mirror, Keldon Champion, Thieving Magpie, Havengull Lich, and Venomous Blast.
Okay, so Damnation's looking pretty sweet.
Yep.
Based off my Grave Titan, I think that's an auto pick for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's some merit to having Glitch, but not really, though, compared to Damnation. Just having a Wrath in your black deck, just having kind of like a failsafe, being able to clear the board, especially since we don't know if we're going to be going into white, and we're most likely going to be passing this Day of Judgment anyways. And Damnation is just a really strong card. There's been a lot of time for you. You don't really expect it out of a black deck because there aren't a lot of those options out there. But when it hits, you're kind of like, oh shit, there it is right there. Pardon my language. And yeah, there isn't really a lot in this pack otherwise that excites me. Kirk, but what would you pick though? Considering that you picked a Tinker instead of the Grave Titan, what sticks out to you in this pack?
Yeah, I'd have to say it'd be one of the two board clearers, Day of Judgment or Damnation. I've seen so many red aggro cards go by already, a lot of the strong ones, so you can figure someone's going to have that red aggro deck, and you're going to need an answer to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got to take one of those two.
What one would you choose, you think?
Well, it depends. With those strong white cards that have already gone by, the Hero and the Baneslayer, it's kind of tough to say which one I'd want.
But you also just passed a Grave Titan and a Bloodgift Demon, too.
Yeah, at the same time, but
you passed a lot of good cards in both colors at this point.
A lot of teams, it's really tough to pick. I don't like committing to either of them at the same time, but I'd say my instinct would be to go for the Day of Judgment. I end up playing white-blue decks a little more than I play black-blue decks. And there's a couple more board players that I can hope for if I'm going towards white.
Yep,
Keep
definitely.
myself open.
Cool. So, another split pick here probably. So, decision time?
Damnation.
Damnation?
Yeah, Day of Judgment.
Day of Judgment, and I would probably go with Damnation too. And there's definitely, I think any of those picks would be good. It makes a lot of sense for Kirk to go into Day of Judgment for all the reasons you said. You are a big blue-white player, and Damnation makes perfect sense for our pick because we already have a Grave Titan. We don't necessarily need to play a very creature-heavy deck with a Grave Titan. So, I mean, we have the sword, sure, but just having a failsafe, like kind of on-off switch in a Damnation is always, 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 always very good. Especially if we are able to get any kind of reanimation spell. If we were to get like a Kirk Nightmare in the second or third pack for some reason, we have a Sword of Light and Shadow that will be able to get back creatures that we've just lost to a Damnation as well. But yeah, I mean, otherwise a very unexciting pack. Some good role players in here. I mean, Kirk, would you ever consider the Palladium Mirror over the Sweeper?
Definitely. I mean, the mirror is great, especially going with the Tinker route, and it's not a bad feature to have when you have a sword. If you have a sword already picked, that mirror is a lot better than it would usually be.
Mm-hmm. And also it doesn't commit you to any color, too.
True.
I mean, you are a big white player, but at the same time, like, Damnation, I mean, Day of Judgment is not the biggest signal in the world. It is a signal, but it's not like someone's going to see Day of Judgment and be like, alright, no one's playing white to the right of me anymore. It could just be like a bunch of other cards in there. I don't know. It's a tough one.
This is a confusing pack.
Yeah, definitely. There are like a lot of kind of like role players in this pack,
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah. It doesn't really tell you anything about what anybody else is playing.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it could have just been like power, high value Planeswalker, just like, 3 artifacts that are taken out of here. It's really tough to say. I mean, if I was a green player, I might be happy to take the Borderland Ranger, because I think that card is really underrated, especially if you're trying to like fix and go like 3 or 4 colors. But I think the picks that we all decided to choose are all definitely high quality picks. Any other final thoughts on this pack before we conclude?
Somebody's getting a good red aggro deck.
Yeah, that's going to be an issue for sure in this draft. I would imagine, with Goblin Guide, one of these guys, Vexing Devil. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there that can really bite us in the butt. So it'll be nice to get a sweeper. And any final thoughts before we sign off? All right, and this is a Turn 1 Magic Cube blog podcast mock pick thing. This is Sam,
Kirk, and Sky.
and thank you for listening.